Hello everyone and welcome back to Gran Turismo 7, where we will be taking a look today at the Spec 3 update. It's only 5.5 months late, don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, this is just the updated game intro that is on screen now. But while that plays out, let's have a little chat for a moment. So, this video, as you can tell by the length of it, is going to be quite long. A lot was added in this update, and I pretty much just haven't had the chance to put it all together yet. Even though since this update there's been a couple more, so we've got some catching up to do with this series, but I'm committed to completing the game as much as I possibly can, you know, and continuing making these videos about the single player stuff. So, oh my goodness, that was a crazy camera. So yeah, we are going to continue this series until there are no more updates left in the game, and we move on to Gran Turismo 8 when that someday comes about. But anyway, we've got some crazy stuff in this update. You may have just seen one such example in that previous shot. But we've got some new circuits, we've got 8 new cars, so yeah. We've got, we've got 2 new circuits and, I suppose, technically a new layout. It's not particularly interesting, but we'll be talking about that very briefly as well in a moment. But yeah, we've also got a DLC released for the first time in Gran Turismo 7 called the Power Pack, and we'll get into that in due course. I'll get through all the main game stuff first before we get into the Power Pack. But I will definitely be covering that as and when I get through that as well. But the Power Pack is very cool. It includes a bunch of extra races and set out in a really unique format as well. Going back to a little bit of traditional Gran Turismo from the early days with qualifying sessions and all sorts of stuff. So I can't wait to get into that. But for now, let's just focus on the regular Spec 3 update, because, yeah, that's what we are doing today. That's a really cool shot too, actually. I love how the Tundra and the Raptor there were out-dragging the Ital Design VGT for a moment, which I believe is one of, if not the fastest off-road vehicle in the game. But we won't worry about that. Anyway. Let's move on to the content of the update itself. Sarah's got something to say. Welcome to the world of Spec 3. In Spec 3, the collector level cap has been raised from 50 to 70, which I'm sure we will hit instantly. Increasing your level will allow you to obtain special items and new extra menus. Drivers already at level 50 will be upgraded to newer levels using the points they accumulated since reaching the cap. Which makes sense. So level 50, boom, straight to level 70. Level up. Your collector level has increased. No kidding. Cafe menus, we've got a bunch of new ones. So we'll get to those throughout the course of this video. 4 menus in one video, that must be a record. And we have a Porsche ticket that never expires. I think this comes with collector levels now since the update, as well as a Citroen ticket, a Pagani ticket, a Bugatti ticket, a Lamborghini ticket, an Aston Martin ticket, a Ferrari ticket, and that's it. So now, from now on until the end of the game, we can buy the sort of limited models from those manufacturers. What's going on here? Power Pack is now open. Okay. Sarah's back. Oh, a large sailing vessel has arrived at the port. You can compete in Power Pack races from there. The Power Pack is additional content for PlayStation 5 and can only be purchased from the PlayStation Store. And with that, we are finally free to do as we please. I didn't have the Power Pack at the time of recording this, but I have since gotten it, and it is pretty cool. I do like. But anyway, I do have to say, I like that they added something to the scenery of the menu screen when they added a new button. I think that's a really cool addition. And I've always felt like that corner was missing something. Like, if you look at the buttons on the menu, they're kind of in like columns of 3. They're a little bit crooked towards the left-hand side, but generally speaking, they're kind of in vertical columns. And then there's always been that missing corner. And now they've put something there, which makes my monkey brain happy. Anyway, let's move on to something else a little bit backwards, which is the way I'm driving this Jeep, and also the way I'm driving the Nürburgring. I mentioned earlier that we kind of have a new layout of a circuit, and we're going to start with that because there are no races here, namely because you cannot actually race on this layout of the Nürburgring. It is the somewhat obscure endurance layout of the Nürburgring in reverse direction, and it's only available in time trial. So very random, don't know why this was added, but what better place to drive a Jeep backwards at warp speed than Nürburgring Endurance 2, as it's called. Nürburgring Reverse would be the easier way to refer to it. But yeah, why we got the endurance layout in reverse, who knows. Would have made more sense to do, you know, if it's for time trial, maybe even the tourist layout. But regardless, we have this as a thing now, and yeah, I was kind of mostly just including this both to show off that this was added in the update, but also it was around this time that Granster taught me how to drive in reverse at ridiculous speeds. So this is a thing we can do now. Not particularly useful in a race, but it's a pretty cool party trick. But with that said and done, let's get into something that is indeed a race, because in this update, something changed with the weekly challenges. And that is that we now occasionally will have driving mission style challenges to complete. And the very first was a Corvette one lap magic challenge, and this one was really cool. It's almost a shame that this only exists for a week and then it disappears forever, unless they choose to bring it back at some point. But it's Corvettes at Watkins Glen, the longer of the two layouts, and we have the C1 Corvette taking off first, followed by the C2. Next up is the C3, one of my favorites. I always just think this is a really nicely shaped Corvette. The C4, of course, very recognizable when it's in its Grand Sport color scheme, just a plain livery on it today. The C5, as we get towards some of the ones from the 21st century, there goes the C6, the C7 up next, and finally the C8, and right at the back, the VGT, the CX, the crazy one. This is ridiculous, this car. You just have so much grip, so much cornering speed. I mean, we are driving past the C8 Corvette like it's standing still. We are going to absolutely blow these cars out of the water. We send it over the chicane and actually just completely cannot even do that section of the track. We're just carrying so much speed there, as much grip as this car has. It can't handle quite everything you throw at it. It still does have its limits. Oh my goodness. Big snap there on the way in as we touch the grass. But as we continue to charge through, we are motoring through the field as we now coming up. I think that's the C4 Corvette we're already caught up to, so we're more than halfway through the field as we get past the C4. There's the C3 up the road. We're going to launch it down the inside, and we get the job done there. And we move up into a third position. We only have one lap to pass the field, and the first place car did get quite the advantage off the start. So as fast as this car is, we can't hang around. There's the C2 just up the road. So if we're only catching up to them at the final corner, I don't know if we're going to have time to catch the leader. We're through though as we head through now the final corner. As we come towards the line now, there's the C1, and we'll just duck around them at the line. But we got that done by less than a second, I'm sure. Here's the onboard with myself through the final two corners. and we'll see just how close this was. Look how far back we are, and we just get there first. My goodness. It's an adrenaline rush, honestly. Not only just driving that car, but the way you finish those one-lap magic races, just roaring past the slower car right at the finish line, and you never know if you're going to get there in time or not. It's really cool. We've got a couple of tickets from that, the daily marathon, for which we get 10,000 credits, and we also got a 100,000 credit ticket as well. And we're going to need all the credits we can get because some expensive cars were added in this update, starting with the $3 million Mines BNR 34 GTR N1 base. The Mines brand returns to Gran Turismo, which is just awesome, with this 621 horsepower beast of a machine. Let's have a read about it and see what its story is. If you know Mines, you must be a real car guy. Mines is a Japanese tuning firm that specializes in GTRs. Their best known work is the BNR 34 GTR N1 base, a fantastic, fully loaded, high-performance street car. Capped at a peak of 591.7 brake horsepower, its RB26 DETT engine was built for smooth acceleration throughout the normal RPM range. As for its running the Tsukuba circuit in under 1 minute, well, that is a testament to Mines' engineering prowess. In 2021, this unit underwent a full restoration, there being a strong desire to see it preserved for future generations. Only its GTR badge bears the scars of its former battles, a chic detail courtesy of Mines president Michizo Niikura. A car that once received an offer of 300 million yen, time will tell how it gets appraised on the world stage. 300 million yen. That is insane. According to my currency converter here, that is $2,658,294.90 in Australian dollars, which is, you know, reasonably close to the $3 million price tag in game, which I assume comes from the 300 million yen. But that is crazy. Anyway, let's move on because we need to race this thing in the Nissan GTR Cup at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, a new circuit for Gran Turismo. We've never had this in a Gran Turismo game before. I've only driven it in Formula 1 games, so this will be very interesting in this beast of a car. Let's see how this goes. I skipped straight over upgrades and customization simply because we have a lot to get through in this one. So most of the cars I'll be driving throughout the course of the video were probably upgraded to some extent, but we're not going to get into those details to try and keep this video under 2 hours long. Anyway, let's start making our way through the field. This section feels much narrower than what it does in the Formula 1 games. I don't know if that's just an optical illusion, something with the way, you know, the field of view is in the game. I don't know. Maybe it is just different to the Formula 1 games. One may be more accurate than the other, I don't know. But either way, it's definitely noticeable through there that it's very a very different feeling. And also going through there in, you know, in street cars is very unusual because you have a lot less grip through what's, you know, normally just barely even corners. Are suddenly a lot more of a big deal. But anyway, we slow to a crawl through the hairpin, put the power down onto, I guess, well, it's not really a back straight because we're heading already back towards the start line. But anyway, this straight, and we'll head over towards the start line. Can we make a big send into the Wall of Champions chicane? We're already through. Well, before we get to the turn-in point, we're just going to take it steady through here. That curb on the inside there, actually both curbs on the inside, like boulders. You do not want to hit those too hard. because they will send you flying. Anyway, big lunge down the inside. We can't quite get there, but we're making our way through the field steadily. We've already passed a third of the field on the first lap. As we continue to push forward, we're up into P9. We should be able to get another one into the next chicane. The next two cars are bumper to bumper, so we should be able to get past both of these pretty easily if we can find the space. We squeeze through on the left hand side as we just find enough room there. And now we've got the R33 GTR ahead of us. I think it's probably my favorite model GTR, the R33, and we get a nice exit there. Blast past the R33 and move ourselves up into the top 5 in this race. And as we carry on, we are once again on again, I wanted to call it the back straight, but again, it's running in the same direction as the main straight, so I feel it feels wrong to call it that. But the top few cars are a little bit more spread out. We do make the move up into a third position at the hairpin with just over 2 laps to go. As we carry on, we catch up to a more modern GTR of the R35 variety 2017 model. We'll make the move on them pretty easily, and wow, we missed that by a long shot. We almost plowed into the back of our Mines GTR friend there. We'll slot back in behind and have another crack at that one. But anyway, as we are still fighting it out side by side with the R35, we'll eventually make the move down the inside. Too deep on the brakes though, a little bit of handbrake action there to try and get this thing turned. And now, once again, we'll have to try and make this move. But we've got more straight line speed, and we do that pretty easily. We send it through the final chicane for the final time. That was actually really satisfying over the curbs there. Just taking the right amount there, not to upset the car. Towards the line then, and that is race victory at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Very bizarre to have this track in Gran Turismo. A welcome addition, of course. New tracks are always awesome to see, but yeah, to have you know, a Formula 1 track in the game, it's a weird feeling. It doesn't strike me as a Gran Turismo track, but it's fun all the same. Speaking of Formula 1, we've got not quite Formula 1, but Super Formula at this track as well. So no new car to race in this event, but I mean, I guess they can't really add a Formula 1 track without giving us an open wheeler race to do there. So it makes sense to do this. But anyway, as we are having a little bit of trouble initially to get into a rhythm in these cars. I do like the Super Formula cars, but it always takes me a second to settle in and sort of get used to how they handle again, because I don't drive them all too often. But anyway, as we push on, we do eventually start closing into the field once again, and we'll start making moves. Quite a long race, this one. We have 15 laps, so this is 3 times longer than what we just did in the GTRs. And this one we've got tyre wear and even fuel to worry about, so we'll need to manage that to some extent. But as we carry on, we'll make the move down the inside into the Wall of Champion chicane. We haven't had any major moments there yet, which is fantastic. We're up into 17th position, soon to be 16th, as we make the move down the inside into turn 1. We get the job done there. And yeah, we just need to steadily pick our way through the field. There are so many cars in this race, a field of 20, so this is a Formula 1 sized grid, or at least it was at the time this update came out. Obviously, of course, we have 22 cars in Formula 1 now, which is awesome. But as we continue to push on, we're getting a little bit close to the back of the next car. We'll get a run on the exit, and we'll make the move up into a 14th position. 20 cars is actually the maximum grid size in Gran Turismo, regardless of you know, what game mode or anything. You can never get more than 20 online it tops out at 16, sometimes less than that. But we carry on, a big move down the inside into the hairpin. We're not running a particularly high difficulty level for this one because I'm not the best at extracting the most out of these high-end race cars. But we're up into P12, so we're more than a third of the way through the field in the first couple of laps, and we'll make another move down the inside into the Wall of Champion chicane, and we get the job done. We move ourselves up into P11, so 10 cars left to go ahead of us. We might get another one as we head towards turn 1. Nice bit of slipstream on the way, and we'll make the big lunge down the inside. And a bit of a corner cut there. We can't quite get the move done. Can we carry the speed around the outside? Looks like we'll just about be able to get that one done. And we move up into the top 10. We'll see if we can make that P9 on the exit of this corner, which is no easier in Gran Turismo than it is in the Formula 1 games. It's very tricky to put the power down there in F1, and very, very tricky in Gran Turismo as well. Depending on the car, of course, more so in Gran Turismo, but it's still a pretty tricky traction zone if your car's a little bit on the twitchy side. Big move down the inside, a 2-for-1 deal at the hairpin, although unfortunately we couldn't quite hold on, so we'll have to try again on the exit. More straight line speed will help us out here. We move ourselves up one more position on the back straight. Now we're up into P6, so we're going well so far. The pace is, definitely good enough. The main thing for me with these Super Formula cars is just limiting mistakes, and we've managed to do that so far. Again, we go too deep on the brakes into the hairpin, but this time we do manage to hold on, and we've moved ourselves up into 4th position. We should be able to get 3rd by the end of the back straight with this overspeed. This is ridiculous. That is just crazy overspeed on the back straight there, and we get the job done up into P4. So, or P3 rather. So we're up at the podium, and as we carry on, the top 2 are fighting it out side by side, and hopefully that should give us the benefit of a better exit. And as we put the power down, we have great overspeed there. We actually get a little bit blocked off. We'll make the move to the right hand side though on the back straight. We'll get the job done up into the race lead, and that is that. But we immediately come into the pits because it is time to top up the fuel to make sure we can get to the end, and we'll also slap on some medium compound tires to make sure they will carry us to the end. So with the fuel topped up, we can get to the end from here. I wanted to get the pit stop done early, maybe get something out of an undercut. The softs were still okay at that point, so I'm not sure how well that's going to work. But really, oh my goodness. Okay, I did not do that well at all. To be honest, I don't even know what happened there. I just didn't slow down for the corner. Let's not worry about that, and we'll get moving again as we continue on to what I would more accurately describe as the back straight, although this one isn't quite straight. The slight right curve, we do make a move there, and as we head into the chicane there, another move down the inside. So we need to get ourselves back through the field. Of course, everyone else will probably need to make a pit stop as well, so these positions aren't too important. I just need to make sure I'm not losing out in any major way to the race leader. So through the hairpin, we should be able to get a nice exit here. We get good speed, and we move ourselves up into the top 5 once again, and everyone else extending this first stint. It's going to take a long time for them to run out of fuel or tires, really, so they're probably not going to do I'd say a particularly optimal strategy pitting at the midway point of the race. I imagine they're going to keep running until the fuel or tires hit a critical point, and just top up and get home from there. But I'm not sure. We'll see how it plays out, but we might not even need to worry about it because we're up into 3rd position again already, and that'll soon become 2nd on the back straight. But the race leader was a bit further up the road. We do catch up to them though, and we'll reclaim the race lead before they even make their pit stop. So it's not something we're even going to have to worry about. And with that, we are able to move all the way on to the end of the race. We judge the fuel pretty well, and as we send it through the wall of champion chicane, getting a bit caught up on the curbs, but we get away with it. And as we come to the line, we'll flick it around for a race victory here with the Super Formula cars at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. We actually put a couple of cars a lap down towards the end. We smashed them. We won by more than 50 seconds. That's crazy. So with that done, we can move on to the next thing, which will be the first of the 4 new menu books, or extra menus, that were added in this update. And the first of those is the Alfa Romeo Legends menu book. We've got on the left the second oldest car in the game, which is neat. But anyway, congratulations, you've got all 3 cars. This completes your Alfa Romeo Legends collection. Once you've collected your rewards, I've got some stories to tell you about these cars. And there we have it. The Alfa Romeo Legends collection completed a 6-star relay ticket for our troubles. Now, let's see what we can learn about these cars. Collection Alfa Romeo Legends. I see you've assembled a divine lineup of Alfa Romeos that would surely impress car collectors all over the world. The brand's history dates back to 1910 and the founding of the Anonima Lombarda Fabbrica Automobili in Milan. Known by its acronym ALFA, Alpha, the company set to making a name for itself in racing straight out of the gate. When entrepreneur Nicola Romeo took over management in 1918, Alfa Romeo was born. Romeo believed that stoking the company's insatiable hunger for racing would ultimately be good for business and R&D. And he was right. A beacon of innovation, Alfa Romeo brought together some of the best engineers and drivers of the day. One of the company's masterpieces from the 1930s was this 8C 2900B Touring Berlinetta. Powered by a supercharged straight 8, the 8C 2900B had an elegant touring body that had onlookers sighing with awe. After the Second World War in the 1960s, Alfa Romeo had a big hit with its Giulia series. The Zagato combined a steel tubing with a sporty body. Light and speedy, it was a strong competitor on the track. Time passed, but Alfa Romeo's fighting spirit never died, and it continued to shine brilliantly at touring car races. The 155 2.5 V6 Ti is but one example of this success, making its rivals tremble at DTM races throughout the 90s. Its combination of four-wheel drive, outstanding performance, and luxury made it one of the defining cars of its generation. To this day, Alfa Romeo's racing blood runs thick. Its car is likely to excite fans all over the world for years to come. And with that, we conclude the Alfa Romeo story. That is a brand that has been around for 116 years now. That is crazy. I've said that is crazy a lot in this episode, but we carry on. We got a 6-star roulette ticket from that, so we'll spin this one up, and we've surpassed the 1 quarter mark in this video, which is absolutely lovely. 500,000 credits, and that is more like it. We are certainly going to be needing those. Right, next up, something a little bit on the cheaper side. because we do have a couple of new cars that can be purchased from the used cars dealership. New cars as in new to the game. The first one is the Mitsubishi FTO GP version R. Hi there, looking for a fine Japanese car from the 90s? If so, then have I got the car for you. Check out this FTO, a compact coupe from Mitsubishi. A speedy FF, it shares its basic parts with the Mirage. I don't know if that's necessarily a selling point. Its greatest selling point, speaking of selling points, is its 2-litre V6. Fitted with a variable valve mechanism and can produce 197.2 brake horsepower. Measuring 4,365mm in length and 1,735mm in width, this car looks fierce, particularly with its bulging bonnet. And fierce it was. Dubbed the fastest FF of its day, the sheer speed at which it takes corners is unbelievable. Believe me, there aren't many cars out there that have had such a hold on young drivers as the Mitsubishi FTO. Well, they're certainly talking this car up, so it'll be very interesting to see how it goes. The Mitsubishi FTO though, there it is. It's a car we've seen before in previous Gran Turismo games, but it's the first FTO model in Gran Turismo 7, which is awesome to get something new and a classic at that. So, let's see how this goes. We're heading to Blue Moon Bay, the infield A layout, which is the Blue Moon layout I am least familiar with, so this could be a little bit interesting to begin with, but we'll see how it goes. Big bounce off the banking there, as almost all cars do. Even when we raced Hunters and Raptors here, they were pretty unstable there, so I mean, if they can't handle that bump, nothing can. But anyway, we'll see throughout the course of the lap how this car handles, because to be honest, it actually does feel pretty good so far. This is completely stock. I just bought the car and brought it straight here to race. I didn't even upgrade the tyres like I normally would, so we're still on the comfort softs that this car came on. But anyway, down the inside we go, and we make the move up into 7th position. As we carry on, we make the move down the inside up into P6 as we head back onto the banking, although we don't quite carry enough speed there initially. But we still get a decent exit. We squeeze right down onto the inside apron, but regardless, we're through up into the top 5 now, so we are halfway through the field on the first lap alone. And like I said, this car is completely stock. As we carry on though, we'll continue to make moves again in the infield section down the inside, and late on the brakes there, but we do get through up into P4 now. And we can see another FTO up the road, and they seem to be making moves at the moment as well. So it'd be good if we can clear them, because they are likely going to have equal or better performance than we do at the moment. But we get a nice run towards the turn back onto the banking. We make the move down the inside, use a bit of the inside there that we can get away with, and we move up into the podium places. Just 2 cars left ahead of us, and 2 laps to get through, but the other FTO has made the move up into the race lead, as we also get past the Honda Integra there, and that moves us up into P2. So on the final lap of the race, it'll be a battle between the FTOs for the victory. We just need to see if we can get close enough to make that move. We're getting used to this car slowly. I've been definitely underdriving it more than overdriving it so far in this race. And now it's time we do need to start pushing a bit more, because now that the other FTO is in clean air, we do need to start thinking about how we can close in. We get a nice run out of the final corner as we start to think about the last lap of the race. Now on lap 404, we go to the outside at turn 1, and we'll see if we can just send it in here to get the move done. Late on the brakes all the way around the outside, can't get it done there though. We have to switch it back to the inside, still can't get it done, and we remain behind for a moment longer. We will try again though to make the move around the outside into turn 2. This time we carry the speed a little bit too much though, and we find the barrier on the exit, and that's going to spoil any chance we have in the early part of this lap. We move on to the final real corner, and we are a fair way back here, so we're going to need a miracle to get to the lead from here, but we did get a nice run through that corner, and now through the banking we have a whole bunch more momentum carrying through there, and we do the drag race to the line, and we actually should have this with relative ease as we steam ahead to the line and take P1 here for the FF Challenge, Japanese FF Challenge, 450 here at Blue Moon Bay. This car's pretty fun, to be honest. I enjoyed that one. Nothing too crazy, but this, this car's just cute. The Fiat Panda. Perfect timing. I just received this little Italian gem, a first generation 1985 Fiat Panda. This car debuted in 1980 during the global oil crisis when small economical cars were in high demand. Intended as a replacement for the 126, whatever that is, it was penned by none other than master designer Giorgetto Giugiaro. To keep costs low, Giugiaro opted for a simple boxy shape that still managed to get across a modern sense of luxury. The Panda came in a choice of 652cc and 903cc engines. This is powered by the former, making it light and zippy. Zippy, that's a good word, I like that. Giugiaro's self-proclaimed masterpiece, the Panda, is one car you can't do without. Well, I'm sold. This thing looks adorable. So, without further ado, let us grab this little beast and see what it's capable of. A nice 14,000 credits for this one, so very much on the cheaper side. And yeah, we'll see what this can do. We are going to take it to the European Sunday Cup 400, specifically at Goodwood Motor Circuit, and we'll see how this goes. This thing is going to be interesting. You may notice it looked a little bit different just now. It does have some nice customization options, which I've gone ahead and installed. Not going through customization simply for the sake of time. This is already going to be, like I said, an almost 2-hour video at the moment. Maybe a little bit less by the time I finish editing things down, but either way, this, as you can tell, is a big one, so we're streamlining things as much as we can. Speaking of streamlining, that is a few overtakes into one corner there, and we're steadily moving ourselves up the field. The Porsche getting in the way a little bit there, but we do get around them. We've installed some power upgrades as well, so this is certainly not the car's stock performance, but it is working for us well so far. We are flying through the field up into P7, so almost halfway through the field on the first lap alone. We'll get a nice run here on the exit of the final chicane, one of the trickiest sequences of corners in the entire game, that chicane at Goodwood, but we manage it okay on that occasion, and yeah, we just need to get through the field cleanly. Little bit of a off-road action there to get through on the Alpine there, but regardless, we're up into a 4th position, just 3 cars ahead of us as we go a little bit wide through the final chicane, but gives us good momentum along the main straight to make not 1 but 2 moves up into 2nd position, and we have a little bit of time before we catch the leader, but we will eventually do so and make that move down the inside. And that moves us up into P1 ahead of the Golf. So with that done, we can push on to the end of the race. It was a relatively quiet one in the latter half. And yeah, that is it. P1. And yeah, the Fiat Panda is quite a fun little car. Wasn't a particularly long or eventful race, but yeah, I always like these sort of you know, small European boxy things, so Another one is always welcome. But with that, we head back to the cafe for yet another menu. This one will be the Legendary Road Racers collection. So once again, congratulations, you've got all 3 cars. This completes your Legendary Road Racers collection. Once you've collected your rewards, I've got some stories to tell you about these cars. So there we have it, collection Legendary Road Racers completed. And a 6-star roulette ticket for our troubles. Now, let's see what we can learn about these cars. I see that you've assembled an all-star cast of fine and elegant open road race cars. The original purpose of racing was to see how far you could drive a car without it breaking down. Taking place on public roads, these races later evolved into the long-distance trials now run in Europe and the Americas. The cars that competed in them were part road car and part race car. This hybrid identity gave the cars of the 1950s and 60s a distinct character. The reason so many masterpieces were born of this era is largely due to this history. Debuted at the storied MegaVideo in 1953, this Maserati A6 GCS/53 is a prime example of a masterpiece. With its light but powerful Fantuzzi body, this car set the standard for sports car design. Another strong contender of the day was the Spider Type 550, Porsche's first mid-engine sports car. The 1500 RS, a racing version of the 550, had a lightweight aluminium body and DOHC engine, used like a weapon. So fierce was this car that in 1955 it claimed class victories at both the Mille Miglia and Le Mans. In the 1960s, circuits replaced roads as the main venue for races, giving rise to thoroughbred racing machines. The Giulia TZ2 Carrozzata da Zagato from Alfa Romeo was one beautiful product of this transitional period. Though derived from the TZ road car, the Zagato was built for racing, making it the last of Alfa's road-going races. As you can see, the storied tradition of open road racing served as the cradle for many an automotive masterpiece. And there we have it. That is a little story about some of the older race cars in the game. But anyway, with that said, we do have a roulette ticket to use after that, so we might as well spin this up and see what we get as a reward. We are going to get 500,000 credits. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. We now move on then to the Ferrari dealership, where we have a pair of new cars to investigate. First up, we'll start with the Ferrari 296 GTB from 2022. We have an array of colours to choose from, but of course, it's a Ferrari. There's only one real option when it comes to what colour you want your Ferrari to be. But anyway, let's have a little read about this car and see what we are getting ourselves into. Ferrari was an early adopter of hybrid technology, as evidenced by the LaFerrari and the SF90 Stradale. The 296 GTB was also a plug-in hybrid, but it was powered by a V6, which Ferrari first adopted for the Dino. This 3-litre twin-turbo V6, when combined with an electric motor, boasts an output of 818.5 brake horsepower. Not only does this hybrid technology reduce CO2 emissions, but it also offers drivers a high output. The car's exterior, with a slow nose, is another big draw, making nods to the classical forms of the legendary 250 LM. Measuring 4,565mm in length, it's surprisingly compact, and its light V6 only adds to its advantages on the track. Without a doubt, this is one car that shows Ferrari's desire to make electrification the new secret weapon in motorsport. Alright, so it seems like it's a Ferrari hybrid with a lot of horsepower, although they didn't mention the handling too much other than that it's got a light V6. They didn't actually say the car was light, in fact it weighs 1470 kilos, so those hybrid parts may be weighing it down a little. We go to the Ferrari Challenge at another new circuit to this update, the Yas Marina circuit. We head to Abu Dhabi for this race, and I mean, this is just cool to have this track in a Gran Turismo. 2 Formula 1 tracks added in the same update, which is rather interesting. But anyway, kind of strange to be racing here during the day as well. But anyway, that is the settings and the setup for the first race that we are doing here. They added several at the circuit as we begin to try and make our way through the field. Bit of a wide moment though through turns 2 and 3. Like I said, this car not brilliant in the handling department as most cars of this genre tend to be. Regardless, we'll see if we can get through the field. We've already made one move up into P15. The Ferrari Challenge of all the Gran Turismo 7 races tends to have among the largest disparities from the fastest to slowest cars in the field, and we should just be monstering our way through the field in the early laps because of that. I remember doing Ferrari Challenge races in the past where even in something like a 5-lap races we have a bit of a lose at the exit of the chicane. You know, even in a 5-lap race we've actually put cars a lap down, so we'll see if that happens again. But this thing, as you can see, is a straight line machine even compared to these other Ferraris, but it does not want to turn at the banking. We just barely make the corner with a little bit of a wide moment on entry and almost running wide on the exit as well. So we do have to manage the handling of this car a little bit. It's going to be tricky, but we'll see. Hopefully we can keep things on track through those right-handers. It just understeers horrendously. But we're closing in to the top 10 now. Got a Ferrari Dino next up the road, and we're closing at a rapid rate of knots. We have to take some avoiding action towards the penultimate corner to get through. A little bit of a graze on the way past, I think, but we get away with it. A lot of understeer through the final corner as we come around to complete the first lap of the race. But now we start to focus in, and we'll see if we can continue moving forwards. A little bit of an off-track moment, but we ultimately do make the move into 9th as we have a big moment on the exit. We manage to save it, and we don't even lose that position, such as the speed we were carrying there. A little bit too much speed for the tyres to handle both entry and exit of the turn 2-3 complex. But a little bit of car horn action there as we now go on board towards the chicane once again. Having a look around to see where the other car is. We're absolutely blasting past these guys on a straight line. A little bit early on the brakes. It's very difficult to judge the brakes in these types of cars. The brakes aren't great, but they have so much straight line speed, so you have these really long braking zones where it's so easy to go, you know, not just a little bit early, but far too early or far too late, because the margins are just so exaggerated for those things. But anyway, as we carry on, we might be able to get a nice exit here. You see, we had no advantage in the corner there. We were pretty much identical for mid-corner speed, but on the exit, just putting the power down, we were absolutely able to blast straight through. So this car's nothing special in the corners, but the straight line speed is extreme as we try and tentatively navigate the final complex once again, and we're slowly closing in to the next lot of cars. Again, we go deep at turn 2. We're just really struggling to get it turned there. That time we were trying to go around the outside of another car at the same time. And again, just hoping for the grip that just wasn't there. And yeah, we do ultimately get that move done still. And we're up into P6 now. But it's not an easy car to drive and get the most out of. But a nice slipstream along the back straight, and we should be easily through here. Look at that. It's just a monstrous difference of speed in a straight line. Through the corners, we can get a slight advantage, and we will make the move down the inside into the final corner. Way too deep, though. As soon as we're on that compromised line, we just had no chance of making the corner. But on the exit, horsepower wins out, and we get through up into P4 now. So we're flying through the field. We're almost up onto the podium, and this time I think we actually cut the corner a bit there, overcompensating as we were trying to get to the inside on the exit, and a huge slide there. Can we save it? We just barely keep it out of the wall, and we keep things in play. But yeah, that was a bit of an issue there. It's quite a tricky corner exit. This car, it's pretty stable. It has definitely much more of an understeer tendency, but it can also step out, as we've seen 2 laps in a row there. But again, straight line speed helps us get those positions back. We move all the way on now to the final lap of the race, and we are still down in 3rd position. But the leaders are not far away as we send it down the outside, and we ultimately are not able to get the car stopped. Turns out it doesn't really matter though, because I was almost certain we'd get reset there, and I'd just have to restart the race at that point. But apparently that is just an open shortcut in single player races. I'm sure if you've got penalties turned on, that'll be a very different story. But there are no shortcut penalties in this race, and apparently that's just a thing you can do. Anyway, we're not going to worry about that, because to be honest, we might still be a bit too far away to take the win in this one. We are absolutely throwing everything at it, using all the track limits and then some, as we try and navigate the final sector of the lap. And we need to be doing this because we're still trying to close in. And with only 2 corners to go, they're going to get held up by the lap traffic, and that's going to give us the position. If it wasn't for that lapped car, I don't think we would have made it through, because these last 2 corners have not been my strong suit. We got a bit lucky there, but we managed to steal the win with 2 corners to go. Ultimately, we're just ticking something off a checklist. Not too fussed about taking the massive shortcut. Obviously we wouldn't have had a chance of winning if we didn't do that, but yeah, let's not worry about that. So here's the other Ferrari 296 added in this update, the GT3. So what's this car about? Debuted in 2022, the mid-engine 296 GTB was Ferrari's first V6 plug-in hybrid car. Celebrated for its compact size and featherweight, it was a road car destined for the track. Indeed, the 296 GTB served as the base for the 296 GT3, the successor to the 488 GT3. In making the car GT3 compliant, Ferrari switched its hybrid system to a pure twin-turbo V6 with an output of 591.7 brake horsepower. Assembly was handled by the legendary French outfit Orica, which also provided maintenance and after-sales support. Since its debut at the 2023 24 Hours of Daytona, the 296 GT3 has proved its pedigree and emerged as an indomitable force. With 100 wins under its belt by the end of 2024 alone, it is the star of GT3 racing. And right as I bought that car, Gran Turismo started some server maintenance and it kicked me out. My concern was that we selected to purchase the car, which worked, but I didn't actually get the animation to say that I had purchased the car. So hopefully we do have it, and once server connection was restored, thankfully we did have the car. So yeah, that was lucky. I was worried they took my credits and didn't give me the car for couple of hours there until the servers were back online. But we have the car, and we can now go GT3 racing in Abu Dhabi, starting what appears to be in the evening. So I do imagine this race will go into the night with 10 laps ahead of us, a full field of 20 cars. So this is a big one. So let's get to trying to make some overtakes. We did install the turbo upgrade that is available for this car. We've increased the power to 789 horsepower. So yeah, we should be good for straight line speed. Might burn a little bit more fuel, but that remains to be seen whether that will be an issue in this race, as we casually make a double overtake down the inside into the chicane and get it pulled up for good measure. We couldn't have done that in the road car, but regardless, we're up now into P18. 2 overtakes a lap will get us to the race lead, although as always, generally speaking in Gran Turismo, the cars towards the back of the field are slower, even in, you know, a kind of BOP race like this, where, you know, everyone is in a Group 3 car. There still tends to be faster cars towards the front. As we start to have a think about the move down the inside, we tried to get there on the Beamer, and we'll eventually make the way all the way around the outside. It's a long way around, but we'll get through a big swapper on the exit, but we move ourselves up into P16. So 4 places gained on lap 1. That's a bit more like it. Hopefully we can continue this progress throughout the race. Interestingly, all the cars we have overtaken so far are real-world GT3 cars, which is pretty cool. And there's another one with the Viper. That is about to change. Ahead of us now is the RX Vision concept, which, I mean, it does have GT3 in the name tag. It's an RX Vision GT3 concept, actually. So it is GT3 homologated. I presume that was done by Mazda and not by Gran Turismo, as you know, are many of the cars labelled as Group 3 cars, which I guess is the differentiating thing in the car's name. There's the Porsche 911 RSR, which is actually a GTE car. We make the move on them, and we actually pick up a penalty for that, for making that overtake under yellow flags. I just was not paying attention to the banner at the top of the screen, but it was clearly there as we make the move on the Merc and get through on them as well. That's another real-life GT3 car. But the cause of the yellow flag was the Toyota Supra going for a slide into the inside barrier there. They did back out and get going again, but that was the cause of the yellow flag, and actually just rejoined right ahead of the Mercedes. We just made that overtake on. Here's the onboard with the Supra. Very weird one. I'm not exactly sure why they lost control, and it's very unusual to see Gran Turismo's AI lose control in dry conditions. I've seen them lose control in the wet on slick tires, but that's really the only time you see it. So fascinating that they just made a completely self-induced mistake there. But we make the move on them into turn 1. We've got that penalty to serve, but we're so far ahead of them at the penalty line. That was not an issue in the slightest. Aston Martin up next. We'll get through on them and move ourselves up into the top 10 now. So we are flying through the field, and again, that's another real GT3 car. The Toyota Supra, again, is sort of one of those grey area ones where it's a GT3 concept. But anyway, it is now time to dive into the pit lane, because I've looked down at my tyres and suddenly realised these are not going to make it to the end. Fuel should be fine, but tyres are not. It's not going to happen. So we're going to switch those out for some racing hards. We were on the softs, and we'll get going. And also, this is just an excuse to see this very cool pit exit in Gran Turismo, all looking nice and shiny. But anyway, out of pit lane we come. A little bit of a slide by the AI driver there through that left-hander, and we run very wide grip at a premium, unfortunately, and we were not able to find it as we turned right out of pit lane there. That right-hand turn out of pit lane, it's always sharper than I think, and I've struggled with it in the Formula 1 games as well at times. But we actually got a full-on reset because of that. We drop all the way to 19th after that pit stop and the reset as well. So we have plenty of work to do. We've only got the BMW Sprint model behind us now. But we continue on and start making moves past the Lexus, the Viper, the Toyota there as well. And my goodness, that was just a ridiculous number of overtakes on the straight there, past the R8 and the Mercedes AMG. And we've made our way up all the way into 14th position on that straight alone. So that was just crazy. And then we've got another GTR ahead of us. We'll pass them. There's the Porsche. We get past the Porsche as we carry on. Another double overtake there. Maybe even a triple overtake into the braking zone. Okay, that was too deep, so we couldn't quite get that one done. But yeah, we are rapidly climbing back through the field. That's enough for a Mayo. That is not a real GT3 car, but that is the first sort of Group 3 Gran Turismo sort of homologation that we've seen. But anyway, we are already up now into 9th position, and we are threatening to take a place in the top 8. We just need to get past this next BMW, but they're giving us a little bit of trouble. We're just going to be patient. Now we'll make the move down the inside and cut a little bit of the corner there, trying not to make contact, but we're through and up now into the top 8. Next up is actually a GT300 car. So, I mean, they race against GT3s in real life. They're in the same class over in the Super GT Championship, the BRZ GT300 by the R&D Sport team, competing against many GT3 and other similarly leveled equipment. But anyway, we get past the Corvette C7. That's another Group 3 Gran Turismo kind of car. Not sure why I'm choosing to do this kind of commentary on the other cars, but this is what we're doing. I guess we've got to talk about something this whole time. And now we've actually got one of the older Group 3 cars in the game. This is one of the old GT500 class cars from the late 90s and early 2000s. That is the Honda NSX that we just made the move on. So that is a bit of a random one to see in this race. But as we continue to move on forwards, there's the Ford GT I was talking about, the other GTE class car. Next up is the Subaru WRX Group 3, another Gran Turismo kind of homologation car. I think the reason a lot of things like the Subaru WRX Group 3, the Corvette, etc., Alfa Romeo, is those companies, oh my goodness, that was a bit too late on the brakes there. We slam into the back of the Lexus RCF GT3. They send it back up the inside. My goodness, they absolutely launched it into that right-hander. AI had just gone berserk today, crashing, sending it. Something has definitely changed with the AI in this update, or maybe it's just this circuit they're not particularly well adapted to yet. But they just launched it down the inside, missed the corner by miles, but that was quite funny to see. We will round them up eventually after that, but my goodness, that was wild by that Lexus. That was like an online player kind of move. Anyway, we carry on, and the last car ahead of us is the Ferrari 296 GT3, exactly the same as our own, and we're actually on the final lap of the race here, so we have left this overtake to the last minute. We've only got 2 corners to go, so this is going to be super tight whether we can get this job done. We are closing in though, and we will make the move down the inside into the final corner. We make the apex nicely, and we make the move up into the race lead in the dying seconds of the race. My goodness, that got a little bit more intense than I was expecting it to be at the end of that one, but we do get the job done, and we get the full complement of 200,000 credits for that. And double that because we get 200,000 for completing 3 weekly events as well. But we got something interesting next. I'll finish my point on Group 3 cars later. But the F3500B, we already have the F3500A, and the only difference is horsepower and weight, and visuals to a small extent, but they're both, you know, classic F1 designs. And well, it's a bit of a strange addition, but basically I think the reason really that this car exists is to give you a different engine option. And in fact, the engine swaps for these cars include each other's engines, which is rather interesting. I don't know if any other pair of cars have that particular feature, but anyway, just having a quick look at the F3500A quickly, because I wanted to find out. It's a V12, okay, so I wanted to bring myself up to speed as to what the original F3500 is before looking at the new one. So the original that we drove previously in a previous update was a V12. The new one, I guess we will find out. Gran Turismo players may already be familiar with the special formula machine known as the F3500A. This F3500B is a variant of that model, though both cars are born from the same admiration for 90s F1 racing. The main difference between the two is their power units. Whereas the F3500A uses a V12, the B model uses a V8. Though less powerful, the V8 has a max output of 700.2 brake horsepower. Moreover, it's light and compact, which has its advantages. I wonder if that holds true. Anyway, take a look at the newly added front wing, specially made for the car's high nose and available in 3 unique types. I do appreciate the customization on these F1 cars, but anyway, besides exhibiting an evolution of the hanging wing design, it is a visual delight. Setting the benchmark for Formula machines, the F3500, but that's a bold statement. The F3500B offers an experience only made possible by a V8 engine. Anyway, as we go to choose a colour, I noticed something kind of interesting. The numbers that literally just increase as we scroll across to the right start at number 14. I was wondering why that was, and it's well, pretty straightforward. The F3500A has numbers 1 to 13 already, so between them they have 1 to 13 for the A and 14 to 26 for the B. And what is the significance of 26 Formula 1 cars? Well, that's a full grid, isn't it? So that's pretty neat. But anyway, with that little niche detail out of the way, let's actually jump into this thing. And well, actually, let's actually buy this thing, because it is rather expensive. I do like this one, the final one, I should say, the number 26. So I'm leaning towards that. There's not really any. Normally, when I buy a car like this, I go by the number, but there's not really any numbers, any good ones available. I ultimately went for 18 because it is the closest to 80. Essentially, normally I go for 8 or 80 if it's an option, but 18 will have to do. Anyway, a million credits go down the drain for that. I'm going to need a few more millions though, because for my little side project of getting every car with every engine swap, I need a whole bunch of these cars. I need 3 of these and 3 of the F3500As, which I only have 1 of at the moment. But that is neither here nor is it there, because we need to start racing this thing, and I need to speak up because this car be loud. But anyway, this is technically a Group 1 race, but it does allow us to drive whatever kind of car we like, so we can drive a Formula car if we so choose. First up is a Toyota TS050, one of the 2016 Le Mans cars in the game. We make the move down the inside, can't quite get it done though, but we should be able to get the drive on the exit. They initially get a good one, but we actually get a shortcut penalty there. But in the end, we zoom straight on through and make the move on the Porsche as well. Move ourselves up into 18th position, 15 laps in this race. So this is a big one, even bigger than the GT3 race, which was already 10 laps and quite long. We do have faster cars for this one, but there's no getting around it. This will be a very lengthy race. But anyway, we get that penalty served, no issue from behind. We carry on to the end of the first lap of the race. We've got the Toyota TS020 from 2012 and the Audi R18 from 2011. We get past both of them, a couple of the older LMP1 cars in the game. Next up is the Alpine VGC 2017 version, the Group 1 variant of the car. Looks like some kind of insect, I always think, with those shapes on the top at the back. Looks like wings almost, like some kind of cicada or something, I don't know. But anyway, we get past the Nissan GT-R LM as well as we head into the back straight chicane, now chasing down the Hyundai as there's a yellow flag for the Mazda 787B as they were about to rejoin the circuit there. We get past the Hyundai and move ourselves up into 12th position now. But that was an unusual moment. How did the Mazda get there? We watched the replay and they just went way too deep into that right-hander rather. Went for a full spin and oh my goodness, they cut across the track, drove into the wall. That was a pretty bodgy recovery job there. But yeah, we came through as all that was happening. And they had to wait for the whole field to go by before they could get going again. So, yeah, my goodness, that was a bit of a dodgy moment. But anyway, meanwhile out in front, the Audi VGT makes the move for the race lead ahead of the McLaren. So a couple of VGT Group 1 cars at the front of the field. And the lead changes in favour of the Audi as we get down the inside of the Porsche 962C. One of the older Group 1 cars in the game, and we get through on the Porsche, move ourselves up into P11. So making good progress through the field at this stage. Next up ahead of us is the Bugatti VGT. I'm not a fan of all the VGT Group 1 cars, but I do like the Bugatti. It's a very nicely handling car, and we'll get through on them pretty easily and move ourselves up into the top 10 as they fight back, so maybe not so easily, and we'll lose out initially, but we should have the straight line speed. That said, we are up against a Bugatti, but it's a little bit nerfed. Being Group 1 homologated, they can't go too crazy with the top speed as, oh, contact there! That was the Mazda LM55 VGT into the back of, I believe we're on board with a Tomahawk, SRT Tomahawk there, so a bit of a strange moment between them, but that was right ahead of us as we now get past both of those cars, and we move ourselves up now into the top 8. So a lot of AI collisions in this race so far, even between two VGT Group 1 cars, which is interesting because they would have, you would imagine, pretty similar performance, but I don't know, maybe that's not the case. But anyway, we are now all over the back of the latest and greatest Toyota, the GR010, or at least the latest and greatest we have in this game. It's a few years old now, but they, oh my goodness, that was a pretty dodgy moment as we got down the inside of the Sauber C9 Mercedes as well. So that's us up now into P6. We carry on and we continue pushing on through the field. The Jaguar XJR9 is up next, and we make that move in a straight line pretty easily, and we ended up too early on the brakes into the chicane. Such is the braking performance and the straight line speed of this car. But as we carry on, there is the Nissan R92. We get through on them. Pretty interesting car, that one, because it is pretty much the very end of the Group C era that lasted slightly longer in Japan than anywhere else, so it had a little bit more development work than anything you'll find in Europe. But anyway, we get past the McLaren VGT. We saw them lose the race lead earlier, and they're down to 4th now with that move. The Peugeot 908 just ahead, leading the charge of the cars that actually existed in real life, but we'll soon be making the move on them as we try and find a path through. We get to the inside of the exit of turn 3, and we move ourselves up into 2nd position. The Audi with a sizable margin, but we do close that in, and we're only halfway through the race. We're just starting lap 8 now, so yeah, we are flying through this field in the second half of the race. Might be a glorified time trial. We got a penalty, but I don't think that's going to be a problem. We carry on then, and it is time to come into the pits at the end of lap 9, and yeah, we'll get topped up for tyres and fuel to the end of the race. We don't even need that much fuel on. Honestly, we probably could have just conserved fuel to the end and made it, but anyway, it's better to top up, and then I can go for some fastest lap attempts as well, and try and do that. And of course, once again, it's an excuse to see the very cool pit lane here at the Yas Marina circuit. But as we head back out onto the circuit, let's see if we can get pit exit a little bit better this time. We run a bit wide, but not wide enough to get reset when we get back onto the racing surface this time. So we get away with it, and we actually only dropped into second position with that. So yeah, we have a commanding lead in this race. Interestingly, actually, the Peugeot is doing a really long stint compared to everyone else. The rest of the field were in pretty much when I was. The Peugeot's gone an extra 2 laps on top of that, so that diesel must be pretty economical. At least I think it's a diesel. My memory might not be serving me correctly there. But regardless, we make that move up into the race lead on the Peugeot once again, up on lap 11 now. So with that, we can now move on to lap number 13, and we'll see if we can go for some fastest laps. It's a 1 minute 40.7 that time. I'm actually not sure what the real life lap time well, I mean, these cars never raced in Abu Dhabi, you know, these like 90s era cars, so hard to know what. Oh, that's the Nissan R92 going for a spin now. So the Group C car's really struggling at that corner, and they've done exactly the same thing on the turnaround and driven into the wall. They back out almost into the path of another car there, my goodness. And now they just parked in the middle of no man's land as the field all try and navigate their way through. So they've put themselves in a really awkward position half on the circuit there. You can suddenly hear my car coming into shot, and we are actually putting these cars a lap down. Getting blue flagged is the Nissan as they get going once again, and actually picked up a few penalties for passing some blue flag cars under the yellow flag there. So yeah, that was a bit of a thing, but I was just really deep on the brakes there as we were making the move around the outside of the Mazda and the Porsche. We did get past them both, but yeah, we did that under yellow flags while that Nissan was parked up. So that was a bit unfortunate, but yeah, the Group C car is really struggling with that sequence of corners. I don't know what I was talking about before that little sequence kicked off. But yeah, these cars, obviously, this track didn't exist back in the early 90s, so I don't know what lap times they would have done relative to the 1 minute 40.7 that I just did. But anyway, that could be an interesting thing to potentially look into. But we're almost finished. We've only got a couple of corners to go on the final lap of the race as we round up the GTR. And now to the line, that is race victory in Abu Dhabi. And that is that race ticked off the list. Honestly, I think it is pretty cool that we have 2 variants of this Formula 1 car. Each one has 6 different, or between them, sorry, they have 6 different sort of looks you can go for in terms of front wing, rear wing, and engine cover, side pods, etc. So, you know, you can create a lot of different combinations. 3 distinct engine notes as well, which both cars have access to. It just takes a lot of money, which thankfully we just got with that roulette ticket, 1 million credits, which will pay for one of those cars. So yeah, it would be rather expensive, but you could do an F1 series with a lot of, you know, a lot of cars that look just distinct enough with their, you know, unique engine notes and things. It would be quite cool. But it would be a very expensive series. But anyway, we're back to the cafe because we have the Audi TT collection to look into. Congratulations, you've got all 3 cars. This completes your Audi TT collection. Once you've collected your awards, I've got some stories to tell you about these cars. And there we have it. The Audi TT collection completed. Of course, we already owned all of those cars. A 4-star roulette ticket for our troubles. And now let's hear some stories about these cars. Collection Audi TT. This certainly is a fine collection of Audi TTs that covers all 3 of the car's generations. The letters TT are a nod to the Tourist Trophy, a motorcycle race held on the Isle of Man. This was a race that Audi's predecessor, NSU, enjoyed great success in, lending the initials their due meaning. Years later, Audi decided to bestow this glorious moniker on a compact sports car. The car was not only meant to be small, but packed with Audi's technical know-how. When the study model was unveiled in 1995, its bold curves won the praises of all present. The Coupe 3.2 Quattro was the production version and the most powerful of the original TTs. Combining a 3.2-litre V6 with a Quattro 4-wheel drive layout, this car excelled in terms of performance and cornering speed. Having established itself as a successful sports car model, the TT passed the baton to the next generation in 2006. The TTS Coupe was the 2nd-gen premium 4-wheel drive model. Its 2-litre engine featured a revised cylinder block and pistons. The suspension included Audi magnetic ride as standard, and the interior use of Alcantara/leather was simply divine. In 2014, as the TT entered its 3rd generation, it became even more compact and lightweight. The TTS Coupe takes its name from the 2nd-gen model, but on the inside is tuned to produce 309.7 brake horsepower / 38.7 kgf. It features a virtual cockpit with an LED instrument board, a sign of its modernity. Although electrification signaled curtains for the TT, there may come a day when we see its name again. Am I ever gonna see your name again? Probably, but it'll be on an electric car. Anyway, right, with that done, let's go and spin this roulette ticket real quick and see if we can at least get a few credits for it. 4 stars, so not expecting anything too fancy, but we'll see if there's anything good on the board this time. No credits available. We do have an engine swap there, which would be something, but instead we get some brakes. So that's lovely for a Honda 2 and 4. Brilliant. Right, let's get out of here because we have something very cool. This is not only one of the most unique cars in Gran Turismo history, one of the most unique cars in the world, I dare say. The Renault Espace F1 from 1995. This thing is just cool. Right. It's been said that the European minivan boom of the 1980s was sparked by the Renault Espace. The series had a powerful Formula 1 variant known as the Espace F1. This car was proposed to Renault by Matra, the company that had initially constructed the Espace fiberglass body. At the time, Renault was hailed as the reigning champion of Formula 1. Transplanting an RS4 unit from their winning F1 machine of 1992, the FW14B, a RS4 unit apparently, Matra sought to pay homage to Renault's Formula One success and, at the same time, mark 10 years of the Espace. Clothed in an almost entirely carbon fibre and aluminium body, this car swapped out its third row seats for an F1 engine mounted midship. And its test run was piloted by none other than F1 driver Alain Prost. This is one unorthodox minivan that can really sing its way around a track. I really want to point something out about this car. It weighs 1300 kilos and has 799 horsepower. That is barely less power than the Ferrari 296 GTB and much lighter. That is how extreme this car is. It has probably better overall performance, at least in terms of power to weight, than a modern Ferrari. That is just insane. And this is from 1995. I mean, sure, it's got a Formula One engine, but it's a van, for goodness sake. Unfortunately, there weren't really any races added in this update that particularly suited this car. So there was a time trial in sport mode that was available at the time, so that is where I chose to drive this machine. We do have to put the racing soft tyres on, which is probably a smart call because I mean, this has a lot of power to put down. So with that done, let's head to the track and we'll see what we can do in this car. I'm going to be honest, it took me a lot of attempts to actually get a clean lap in because, I mean, as much as this car is very light, it still is a little bit understeery in the handling department. Not as bad, I would say, as the Ferrari 296 GTB rather. I'd say definitely felt better than that, which is really unusual to say given what this car looks like, and I'll show you the offboard of this lap later. But for what this car is, it's very planted. I was expecting this to be quite difficult to drive, to be honest, and while I did need to get used to the understeer a little bit after driving a pure Formula One car previous to this, it wasn't that bad, and yeah, it wasn't too hard to get used to. Like I said, it took me a lot of attempts to get a lap in, because to do a clean lap in one of these time trials in sport mode, you do need to make sure you do not leave the track even once. So we just had to take it fairly carefully, but we're getting through okay so far on this attempt, and we just have the last half of the lap to navigate now. But yeah, a pretty enjoyable car to drive, and I'm hoping at some point in the future there'll be a good place to drive this thing, because there are other vans in the game but nothing really like this, so it's very hard to really compare it to something. The Toyota Alphard does get the Lexus LFA engine swap, and the Toyota Hiace also gets a powerful engine swap. I think it's a drift engine or something, I can't remember, but either way, there is, some sort of comparison there, with the other vans also having high-powered engine swaps. So maybe there's something that could be done with those three cars. I really hope so. But there is a lap of the Abu Dhabi Yas Marina circuit complete, and it's a 1 minute 55.6. So what's that? That's about 15 seconds off the time we did in the Formula One car. So I mean, that's pretty crazy on its own, to be only 15 seconds off a full-blown F1 car. But this thing just looks so absurd from the offboard. This box should not be moving this quickly. and making this sound, that's the other thing. Box should not make F1 car sounds. But that's a thing, and it's crazy that, you know, they made this happen in the mid-90s. This is just, I don't know. There's something about this car that's just so unnecessary. There's no reason to do this other than that it's just cool, you know? I don't really know how to explain it, but the complete impracticality of a Formula 1 engine in a van is just glorious. That's really all I have to say about it. Yeah, I don't know what else to add. I need to waffle on for another half a lap. Or I could just stop talking too. That also works. Okay, I'm bored now. But yeah, what a beast. What an absolute beast. It just sounds so good. I did mention earlier that the two F3500 cars, the A and the B, get each other's engines as an engine swap, but they also get the engine from this car as well. So for both cars, you can get a V8, a V10, I believe this is, or a V12, which is cool to have all of those variants. But there's a lap completed from the offboard. Now we can move on to the very final car of the update and another new brand added to the game in Polestar. Specifically, we now have the Polestar 5 Performance from 2026, which if you look at the date in the top right corner is actually the future. At the time this update was released, Polestar is a premium EV brand from Sweden with a unique focus on speed and sustainability. Its flagship car is the Polestar 5, a grand all-wheel drive saloon measuring 5 meters in length. So it's pretty long. Its panoramic glass roof doesn't compromise visibility thanks to a camera-supported virtual rear-view mirror. Powered by dual motors at the car's front and back, the performance model can output 650 kilowatts. That's a lot of kilowatts. And employs BWI MagnaRide dampers that can read the road up to 1,000 times per second, increasing comfort and speed. I'm curious if and how that is implemented into the game. Its 800 volt battery supports charging rates of up to 350 kilowatts, and its rear motor can be detached to boost efficiency. Again, I very much doubt that's supported in-game. Sustainable inside and out, the Polestar 5 may very well be a guiding light for automotive design in the years to come. So says what are those rims, mate? My goodness, that is some funky looking rims. Anyway, regardless, we have, to be honest, a relatively bland array of colors to choose from. Such colors as magnesium and magnesium matte. We also have storm matte and regular storm. We also have space. That's also a color that we can choose, or snow, which is the one I think we are going to go for. But yeah, realistically, 4 colors, 2 of which have a matte variant, all of which are on the scale of white, grey, and black. You know, no vibrancy or color at all. But anyway, that is the Polestar 5 Performance from 2026. So let's head out on circuit and see how it goes. We are going to give it the benefit of sports soft tires just to give it a little bit more handling. We're headed to the Nürburgring tourist layout since we already did the sort of reverse direction thing, and this is just another rarely seen layout of the Nürburgring, only available in time trial. But yeah, this is it. This is the car. Absolute silence, being electric. So it'll be interesting to see how this handles the Nürburgring. But yeah, there's not going to be too much to say. There's again, like the Renault F1 Espace, there wasn't really a race added in this update that really suited this car. So yeah, we're kind of just left with having to use it in time trial, and yeah, we just have to kind of see how it goes here. But to be honest, it seems okay. For an electric car, it doesn't handle too heavily. The sports soft tires will definitely be helping with that. But yeah, it's certainly a strange looking car. I will show it in third person in a moment, but I mean, you can see I'm keeping it on the road for the most part. Not driving it too aggressively. Not that you can tell really, because there's a complete lack of engine sound, but a little bit of a wide moment there. I literally do that on every lap of the Nürburgring I've ever done, so no issue there. But yeah, it handles pretty nice, but there's really not much to say about it. It's, you know, a relatively fast electric car, and that's kind of where the interesting parts of this car start and end. But yeah, it is another new brand to the game, which I do think is always a good thing. Where are we going in terms of top speed on this straight? We're up to almost 250 kilometers an hour, 249, 250. We just get there before we have to back it off for this very tricky left-hander. We'll have a better guide on the top speed around the back straight when we do eventually get around there. I will be doing the full lap of the Nürburgring just so we can see that top speed on the back straight. We skip ahead to the carousel being the main point of interest, I think, of the circuit. Get through there okay, and we fire out the other side. Now we move on to the back straight, and we'll see what this car can really do in terms of the top speed. Coming out of the corner, we're currently sitting at 180, 190, 200, 210, 220, 230, 240. Can we get to 250? It seems we cannot. So this car just has a hard limit at around 250 k's an hour. And oh my goodness, who put that there? Ouch. Well, I guess they have a 5-star safety rating. Alright, so I guess the tourist layout goes through this little pit area here. You can see the timer at the top is still counting up, so we have not completed the lap yet. In real life, I think the tourist layout lap time ends at the sign we passed earlier on the back straight. I think it was an Audi sign, but in Gran Turismo, the timer continues until you get back to where the timer starts, which is the bridge at the end of the back straight. So we have to navigate that little kind of pit area back there, and I'm sure it has a proper name, but I don't know it. Then we head out. We have to navigate the cones, which was done on auto drive when we came out before, so we have to do this manually this time. And then once we get out from the cones, we go, you know, straight line to the Bilstein Bridge, which is where the lap finally ends. We do a 9-minute 12. Back at the Audi sign, we did a 7-minute 41.9, I believe. But there is the Polestar 5 Performance 2026 in all of its glory. Bit weird looking at the back, to be honest, but anyway, that is that. Another thing that was added in this update, this is kind of just a bit of a side note, but it is useful if you're into this kind of thing, is a data logger. So when you do a lap in time trial, you can go back and find out a bunch of different information about it. You can see your throttle and brake and the racing line you took. You can compare 2 laps at the same time. I only did one, so I can't do that. But yeah, it is a really neat feature. It's a little bit to get your head around to begin with, so we're not going to spend any more time on that. But if squiggly lines make you happy, there it is. One final menu book for this episode, and it is the Mazda menu book. So congratulations, you've got all 3 cars. This completes your Mazda collection. Once you've collected your rewards, up comes some stories to tell you about these cars one last time. Whew. Collection Mazda completed, and a 5-star roulette ticket for our troubles this time. Now let's see what we can learn about these cars. Collection Mazda. This is an indispensable collection for understanding Mazda's place in the world today. Founded in 1920, the company got its start as Toyo Cork Kogyo, a cork-making factory. In 1931, it changed its name to Toyo Kogyo and began producing small 3-wheeled trucks. Toyo Kogyo entered the passenger car market in 1960, around the time it began developing its own rotary engine. In 1967, it released the Cosmo Sport, whose seeds would later bear fruit with the 787B's Le Mans 24-hour victory. Ever searching for what sets it apart from its competition, Mazda has succeeded in producing many a unique car. The Unos Roadster is one such car that epitomizes Mazda's pursuit of character. Breathing new life into the lightweight sports car market, its production numbers earned it a Guinness World Record. In the 21st century, Mazda has broadened its horizons with its Sky-Active technology and Corridor design philosophy. The CX-30 is a compact SUV that exemplifies this new era, and has been roundly celebrated for its elegant exterior. Its revolutionary Sky-Active X compression ignition engine is breaking new ground for internal combustion technology. Naturally, one can't talk about Mazda without mentioning its rotary engine sports cars, such as the RX-7 and the RX-8. A harbinger of things to come, the RX Vision was unveiled at the Tokyo Motor Show in 2015. Its graceful long-nose short-deck body is simply astounding, and promises to be a must-have item for collectors someday. With electrification changing the way we think about cars, maybe the time is ripe for Mazda to redefine them for us. Holy moly guys, we made it. That is the entire GT7 Spec III update covered in a single video. Only took an hour 42 and 42 as I look at the progression now. Well, let's spin up this last roulette ticket and finish things off. Not much good on the cards, and we get probably the worst outcome available. Titanium connected rods and pistons for an Aston Martin 177. One other thing though, offered here is our seasonal menu, a selection of cars that are in season, added in the latest update. Anyway, collect all of the cars within the allocated time to receive a present. So we can actually get one more roulette ticket per game update. We recommend this menu to our most passionate collectors, which, I mean, I guess makes sense if you're the kind of person who buys all the cars immediately when they are added to the game. And I do like the fact they've chosen the 3 sort of used cars they have to buy at a specific time. 6-star roulette ticket for collecting the Panda, the FTO, and the F1 Espace. What a collection that is. One of these things is not like the others. Anyway, we'll go and spin up this roulette ticket before we finish things off. And then that will finally be it. So we head back home and we'll do this one. What are we going to get for this last roulette ticket of the day? we can get credits or maybe even a car. It's going to be a car this time, and that looks to be the Nissan Group 1, what's it called? Nissan GTR LM, the Group 1 Le Mans race car from 2015. 1 million credits that car is worth, which is actually relatively low for a Group 1 car. But anyway, we've already got one, so we can sell it, and we're only going to get 371,000 because it's down in value at the moment, which is a strange thing the game does when you sell used cars. They actually have a value that changes over the course of time, which is interesting. Regardless, that is that. So yeah, there is really not much else to say. This has been a massive update. I decided to cover it all in one video just to not drag this out. I'm already behind with update videos for Gran Turismo, but I am determined to get through them, and getting this one done is a big step towards doing so, but there's still another couple to go before I've caught up to present day. But anyway, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I really do appreciate it. If you did somehow make it, please feel free to give me some feedback in the comments. It is always very helpful. Other than that, I'll see you in the next one, and goodbye.